All right. So thanks everybody for tuning in. I'm super excited. This started out as a Zoom for my team, and we now have a lot of people on here who are excited to learn from some top leaders. Everyone on tonight is in the top 100 and signs distributors regularly, consistently, not just here and there, but all the time. And they definitely know what they're talking about. I'm so pumped. So make sure you guys have something to take notes for sure. And we're gonna get started. So my name's Janny Copeland, and I'm not really gonna talk for too long. I'm just gonna give you guys a little 30-second version of who I am and what I'm, just a little bit about my story. I'm a triple diamond. I've been doing this for 4.5 years. My family, we just moved to the middle of the boonies in Oklahoma. And we bought an 80-acre ranch, and we have chickens and a baby cow and like all these things that never would have had if it wasn't for this business, if it wasn't for somebody consistently posting to social media and me reaching out to her because she was a normal person who seemed to, not have everything figured out just like me. And I started to think one day, like, maybe I could do that too. And that's probably my biggest tip, is for you guys all to think about what made you interested in this business? What made you want to join? Because what made me want to join was consistently seeing someone else's success on Facebook. I didn't know multiple people. It was 4.5 years ago. I just saw one person, but seeing her post once or twice or 3 times did not get me to join this business. It was watching her for about 4 to 5 months, and I could not get it out of my head. And because of that, here I am, and I've been earning 6 figures for 3 years. I don't have a normal job anymore. I've been able to change people's lives because of this. And it was because I felt drawn to somebody in this business. I felt like if she can do it, so can I. And honestly, that's what got me. It wasn't perfect images or perfect anything. There wasn't even live video back then. It was just me feeling, she was relatable. Like, that's what it was. Bottom line, I related to someone else and thought, if she could do this and make this money, I could do this too. And it just gave me enough interest to reach out. And that's why I'm here. Shoot, sorry. I'm using a new iPad, so let me move this up a little bit. Okay. So let me just, okay. So the first 60 seconds of the recording is going to be the bottom of my face. That's cool. It's all good. Okay, so you guys, I'm going to introduce a good friend of mine who is freaking awesome. I'm going to try to find you, Kasey. This is Kasey Brookeover. If you can, I think you're unmuted. So Kasey, introduce yourself and take it away.
I love you, Janny, but I'm crying.
I just try to be entertaining when I can, so you're welcome.
Oh, I'm just laughing because I know Janny, and I know that she's like me. You don't know what you're gonna ever get. I'm crying right now. Anyways.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
That was awesome. My name is Kasey Brookeover. I'm a triple diamond, but I'm officially calling myself a pending presidential. And I am a top income earner. So I have been with It Works for 3 years, but only the last 1.5 years has really much of anything happened for me. At the beginning of last year, I was just barely hanging on to my diamond rank, like just by a thread. And that was when I decided that I needed to figure out how to enroll more distributors, because that was what my business was lacking. And wow, at the beginning of 2018, like I said, I was just barely holding on to diamond. By the end of 2018, I was a triple diamond. I became a top income earner based off of my double diamond pay. And my husband is also now a triple diamond, and we're about to go presidential. So just by learning how to enroll distributors, because that is what my business was lacking for my first 1.5 years, I have been able to go from just kind of to really doing whatever I want. So for the first 1.5 years, I was always a mass loyal customer enroller. I was always really good at enrolling loyal customers. It was just like second nature to me. And one day I really I was having a hard time with my business, that I was just so stuck. I wasn't going anywhere. And when I really reflected on what I was doing and what I wasn't doing, I thought to myself, why can I enroll so many customers, but I can't enroll so many distributors? So if you're feeling that way right now, what I'm about to say might be a huge change for you. If you're posting every day about your products, if you're talking to people every day about your products and you're all about your products, that is why you're enrolling more customers than you are distributors. When you shift that focus and you start posting every day about your business, you start talking every day about your business, and you start messaging people all the time about your business, that's when you're going to get more distributors. So if that's what the case is for you, it's probably because you're putting more effort and more of your time and your power into talking about products and becoming a loyal customer more than you are talking to people about the business. What changed for me at that point was I just realized what I had to do, but how I did it was I went to YouTube. I went straight to YouTube and watched every single video. There was not one magic video. I watched all the videos that I could get my hands on to figure out what I needed to do to enroll as many distributors as I could. And I just put in the work. The things that I was being taught on YouTube, I was doing day in and day out. That's a really big thing. If you're watching all of these Zooms and all these trainings, but you're not doing the things that we're telling you to do, you can't expect your business to do a whole lot. But when you really put in the effort and you put in the things that you're learning and you are super passionate about it, that's when you're going to see things change a lot. So the things I was learning, I would practice and do those every single day. The things that I didn't like or didn't work for me, I would stop doing them. The things that I saw that were really booming and doing big things for my business, I did them and I did more of them and I did more of them and I never stopped doing them. So what works for one person isn't necessarily going to work for you. What works for any of the four of us that are on here tonight, it doesn't mean that it's going to be that one thing that works for you. But what will work for you is when you put in the work and figure out what it is that's going to work for you. My tip for new distributors, I think especially, would be that you don't have to have some $1 million story in order to tell your story. If you have vision and you're talking every day about where you're going with your business, what you're going to accomplish, what your goals are, it doesn't matter if you've already checked every one of those off. When people see that you are driven and motivated and you have big goals, that's going to inspire them too. My first paycheck was $19. If you just got your first check from It Works, I want you to think about that. My first check from It Works was $19, and I'm now a top income earner. So never quit, and know that it doesn't matter where you are. Even when I was getting $19, I was still enrolling distributors, not as many as I would like to, but I still could because I talked to people about it and because I talked about my vision and where I was going. If you've been in the business for a while, and you still don't feel super confident in enrolling distributors, you got to pick yourself up off the ground. You've got to find that internal belief. You've got to feel it here, and you got to believe it here before it's going to happen. And the way that you can do that is personal development. My personal development does not have to look the same as yours. Go read a book, go watch YouTube videos, go pray, go meditate, go journal. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm journaling every day. When you see the importance in your personal development, it's really going to change your mind. And when you change your mindset, you're going to get that fire in your belly and that determination in your heart that nothing is going to stop you from enrolling distributors that you know that you need and that you know that you deserve. So that, to me, really has a lot to do with it. Once you're in the business for a while and you're not where you want to be, it's all mindset. And that was what my problem was. I didn't believe in myself, and I didn't believe that I had it in me to enroll more distributors. But once I did what I needed to do to get my mindset right, that was when I was like, come hell or high water, I'm doing it. I'm doing the thing. I'm going to prove everyone wrong. I'm going to show everybody. And that was when the magic started happening. So at the very end of 2017, that was when I had that huge shift in my business, that I got my mind right and I just got to work. It was like November-ish, December-ish of that year, I enrolled like 4 to 6 distributors, and that would have been like amazing for me. Like 4, anything above steps to success would have been like incredible. I'd be like, I am just so good at this. But when I changed my mind 2 months after I really started putting in all of that work and doing just all of the things I needed to do, I enrolled 18 distributors that month for $99. And I was the number 3 distributor enroller in the whole company that month. And it was crazy how it was just that shift that I had to figure it out, and I just had to put in the work. Nobody was going to do it for me. It had to be me. It was crazy how I went from just like nothing to like everything. And my paycheck went up in huge amounts from there too. I went from averaging like $2,000 a month on a good month to $10,000 a month on a low month by the end of that year. So wherever you are in your business now, whether you're brand new, you've been in a while, you're stuck, you're not stuck, you're just trying to learn, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what's happened in the past. What matters is what you do right now, what you take from this Zoom and you move forward with, and you continue to do day in and day out until you just get it right and you're doing the thing every single day.
So Kasey, what did you do different in your daily self-development at that point when you had that shift, when you went from signing a few people to signing a bunch of people and top 3 enroller in the company? What were you doing differently for self-development?
Honestly, I started doing self-development. I'm a very red personality, and the reason I say that, obviously, the reason I say that is because I didn't see any kind of necessity. I didn't see the importance in my self-development. To me, I was like, if it's not literally making me money, I shouldn't be doing it. And doing self-development, I felt like wasn't literally making me money. Messaging would, or posting could, or whatever, credit card declines. Those things were literally could make me money. But personal development wasn't going to. I wasn't going to make money from watching a YouTube video, and that was so flawed. So like, think about people in career opportunities. Maybe some of you are every, I don't know, year, 5 years, whatever it is, you're doing that continuing education. That's because you need to continue learning. And when you're not doing personal development to get your mind right and to continue to learn, like getting on Zooms or watching YouTube videos or whatever, you're not evolving. You're not moving onward and upward. You're just staying stuck. So I just realized that personal development, even though it wasn't physically making me money, that it was the biggest reason that I wasn't moving forward, because my mindset was so stuck. So my business was stuck. But when I changed my mind and I got my mind right by doing that personal development, everything else kind of followed.
That's awesome. And I love the fact that you admitted, like, you started doing it, because I think a lot of people are afraid to give their time to that, or they just roll their eyes and they just think it's not true. I think a lot of people just don't think it works. And I wanted to say to those people, do you ever get off of a Zoom, ever, even one time, without hearing that at least 3 times? Mm-hmm. Is everybody in some conspiracy that, tell everyone it's self-development, like, it's such a game changer. It's such a game changer. Like, I'm an analogy person. I'm a big nerd with analogies, but you can take a Ferrari and you can wax it up. You can get a new paint job and you can drive it off the lot. And then if you have 4 flat tires, like, it can be the best looking car on the side of the road that's never going to go anywhere, ever. So I love that you said that. So do you have anything else that you want to add, Kasey? I know you got stuff to do.
Yeah, I got to go put my kids to bed. So thank you for letting me go first. I really can't think of anything else. You just have to figure out what the things are that you need to be doing, and then you need to do all the things until you figure out what works for you best. I know that the other people that are on here are going to really talk more specifically about what they do to enroll distributors, but for me, it was such a personal development and self-belief thing. I really wanted to bring that up the most. I know it's not like I did this, and this, but even if I would have done all of those things, if my mind wasn't right and if my belief wasn't there, nothing would have happened. So I really wanted to just make a really big deal about that, because it's important. And if you don't think it's important, that's going to give you problems either now or down the road in your business.
Love it. Thanks, Kasey.
You're welcome.
Love your face.
Love your face. And I can only see half of it.
No, well, now hopefully you guys can see the whole thing. I don't know. I didn't do my eye makeup for nothing. Jeez, what a waste. Okay, so you guys, I want to introduce you guys to Katie Bevington. I first heard about Katie when I was watching Pam Sauter's podcast probably 7-8 months ago. I don't know. But Katie stuck out to me because she was Pam's guest on journaling. And I've watched that podcast at least 2.5 times. It's incredible. So Katie, if you are able to unmute yourself, otherwise I'm looking for you right now to unmute you.
I'm good. I unmuted myself.
Okay, perfect. Take it away, girl. Tell us your story, just a quick story, and then we got some questions and we want to hear your tips.
Cool. Okay, so yeah, I've been in for about 4 years, and I got started because I'm a teen mom, and I was struggling really bad. Me and my husband, but then fiance, we moved out. We were doing the whole like adult thing. And we realized very quickly how expensive it was, and we were drowning, and my husband was working 1 trillion hours a week. I was in nursing school, and like felt like no matter how much extra hours he pulled or whatever we tried to do, like we were always just drowning. So I was looking for something to do, and I kind of kept putting this off a million times over and over. Because I did something like this before. I did a different company and lost money. And so I knew like the second I even thought about suggesting this, my husband was going to be a no-go. But what had happened was I was praying about this and praying about something where I could make money from home, where I wouldn't have to pick up an extra job and leave my baby. And then this kept popping up. So I ended up finally saying yes. My upline actually followed up with me about 4 million times in 1 week. So and I feel like that's so important to say because I never once felt like she was following up with me per se. Like there was no script. There wasn't anything weird. She was just talking to me. And I remember thinking like, wow, this girl like really wants to be my friend. And that's really all I thought. So when she asked me that final time, I got started. And from then on, it was not amazing. I was so slow. I was the person who got their 4th customer on the 30th day. My first 3 were family, and I ran out of family members that would listen to me, so I had to find that extra person. And on my 30th day, I finally found the one person who gave me a little bit of belief that I could actually sign customers. So I got her, and then my second month in, I signed 2 distributors and 4 loyal customers, and my second distributor was Brittany, who's actually still with me as my presidential diamond. And my 3rd month in, I went Ruby, and then Emerald right after that. And that was where, like, I got to an event, and I forgot to mention this. My second month in, when I signed Brittany, that was the month I signed her, we got to an event, and I was inspired there, and that was the moment that I really understood. Like, first it was my 4th loyal customer that was a stranger. Then I got to the event, and it was just I don't remember, what do we call those? Oh, 1 team, 1 mission. I'm, like, so used to tryouts now. Like, it was a 1 team, 1 mission. And Pam Sauter came to Charlotte, and we just – I heard an ambassador on stage talking about $30,000 a month, and I'm like, wow, that's so cool. You're only like 20 and you're making like $30,000 a month. That's me. I could do that. So I immediately just had that belief. I got started and I figured it out because at this point my upline quit on me already. So I was on my own. I'm figuring it out. And I just kind of the same thing that Kasey was saying. I was on it. I was figuring out videos and blah, blah, blah. Got to Ruby, went Emerald. And kept trucking. And I was going through the winter, y'all. Like, I didn't even know anything about anything besides, like, I want to go diamond and make money. So I was on the track to diamond, went to conference, went diamond, then went double diamond, and then a year later, triple diamond. And it was like 1.5 years. Triple was my longest. Went to presidential, and then like 5 months after presidential, I went ambassador. So it's been a crazy ride. We just recently moved to Savannah, Georgia. My husband does this full time with me. Well, really, he's just like kind of like my helper, but he's here with me. He doesn't go to work anymore. We've been able to do a ton of million things. We go to Disney like 1 trillion times a year. That's why we moved to Georgia, because it was closer. And we've been able to buy our dream home. I bought a truck in almost cash. And like, we've just been able to do so many things. But the most important thing is that I can walk into the grocery store 7 times a week. Like, I feel like I live there, and buy the things that I want, the healthy things that matter, and be able to keep my bills on auto pay. And I think that is just like the thing I am most grateful for, is just never having to check my account before I do the small things.
That's so freaking awesome. Okay. So what would you say, just jumping in, what is the number 1 method that you use to sign your distributors?
Attraction marketing.
So what does that mean for you?
So this means I do the whole, like, I bring everybody to me. I'm the magnet and they're coming all straight to me. And so there's kind of a method behind this. And this is something that I actually didn't do before. I had to switch my way. When I was at Triple, I told you guys that was the longest time I've ever sat at a rank. And that was when I started journaling. And that was when I decided I was going to figure out attraction marketing. The biggest thing when people tell me, like, when I say attraction marketing, I didn't know what it was. I didn't understand. Like, you're posting when people are coming to you. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, we all want that to happen, right? So I started doing research. And I was just, like, on Google, just, like, how to attract people to me, like, how to make Instagram work, like, a random stuff. And I figured out the key points of, like, attracting people to, to me, and, like, how to use it for our business. I really got into that. And so now I'm literally able to do that and get people just in. Like, I'm posting, I'm sharing my life. I want to say, like, the best way I can explain it in, like, a short way is I'm a blogger and they want to know all about me, what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and then they just ask.
That's so awesome. So what would you say is the number one don't for somebody that's brand new, that's like, maybe they have 200 friends on Facebook, they don't have the best quality pictures and stuff like that. Like, how can they apply that pretty quickly?
So quickly, the first thing that you need to do is, and what I told my team was, when you first come in, the picture quality is important. No matter what anybody says, like, even if we don't want to admit this out loud, it is what it is. When you look at a photo on Facebook, immediately, if you just roll out of bed, it's a dark, fuzzy photo. Do you stop and look at that picture? No, you just scroll by. But then somebody who's like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, it's going to be a good day. Like, a pretty selfie of them just, like, up, ready to go, like, or a cute picture of their children or something where it's, like, bright and colorful and clear and crisp, you stop and you look. And so it's just the way our brain works. So learn to take better photos. I use my iPhone. I don't have a fancy camera, okay? So I just use the iPhone, and I use different settings just depending on what, but really just take pictures until you figure out, like, okay, this setting, like using the portrait mode does this, and using the regular mode does this. And those are really the only two that I use. I don't even know why I said, like, I use all of them. I don't know how to use everything. I just use regular and portrait. Make sure they're clear. And the best way I can tell you guys how to edit photos, because it took me forever to learn that, get a preset on Etsy and just use the preset, slap it on your phone, like on your photo, and you don't even have to edit it. It's already done for you.
Awesome. Presets are life. Okay, so here's a question that I'm probably going to ask everybody because it was the number one question that everybody seems to have. When someone says, okay, I'm interested, what do you do? Or what is it you do? I feel like that's where so many people, and this goes to mindset too, like, so many people are so ready for people to say, nope, no thanks, no thanks. When someone says, sure, what is it you do? They, like, freak out and, oh crap, she's interested, now what? So what is your method from that point? Do you send the set, like, the same thing? Do you voice message? Do you send a video? What do you do?
Okay, so what I do is, and I tell my team this, it's so, my conversations, if you looked at my conversations, you would literally probably crap your pants and be like, what? Like, it's the easiest thing ever, and it's the same things over and over, and they sign, like, 99.9% of the time. Like, if you're interested, guaranteed you're on my team already. So here's how I'm putting it in the chat, because I have it on my text replacement. That's it, and then I send them the second portion, and it says, does that sound like something you could do? And then they always say yes, obviously.
That's awesome. So at that point, like, if they ask you more questions, do you just get into it deeper? Do you send them, like, do you ever send out third-party tools? Do you get them do you ever get anybody on the phone?
Yeah.
Or do you just do it all through text?
So I do most of it through text. Like, I would say about 95% of people, we message back and forth, and sometimes they'll voice message, sometimes I will not, because for some reason, like, when I voice message, I feel like it's taking me longer than if I just, like, type it. Like, you can read faster than you can listen to me talk, even though I know I talk at about 1 million miles a minute. So I just send them quick messages back and forth. I keep it so simple. So if you ask me a question, your question, and I'm very red too, so when you ask a question, it's answered, and then I get back with another question. So it's usually after this, they'll say, yeah, I could do that. I'm like, okay, cool. How much would help you monthly? Or what would be amazing, for an income for you and your family monthly, or something just basic. And they're like, okay, 500 or 1,000 or whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. That's totally something that we can do together. And then I'll say, are you working now? They usually, some people say no, some people say yes, and then I go from there. So no, you don't work. Okay, cool. So you're a stay-at-home mom just like me. You know, how many kids do you have? I take it off the business for a second, because that brings them to like connect with me personally, and then they twist it back to the business. So how do I get started? That takes the pressure off of you being like, okay, so to get started, it's $99. So you get to know them personally a little bit, kind of gauge it, and then if they like, they'll usually be like, okay, so like what, you know, how much is it to get started? Or, you know, is there any amount that I have to buy monthly? They start asking questions. You answer them, and then when they're like, so how do I get started? Here is the main thing that everybody on here needs to write down and understand. If you go into a conversation and you expect them to say no, or if you're nervous for them, like, okay, I hope they say yes. I hope they say yes. If you're doing that, you can't do that. You have to take that off the plate. Whenever I talk to somebody, like, I know I got you. You're signing up today. I don't have time to wait on Friday. I'm signing you today, or you don't sign up with me. You pick. And so they sign up with me. Same day we talk, we get all the details out of the way. And if you don't know if you're ready, I'm going to call you and we're going to figure out if you're ready. And then they start. If they ghost me, it doesn't mean I never talk to them again, but it means that they will be they will be talking to me and following up with me, like me. They're coming to me again, watching my story and stalking me, because some people don't sign up right away. But that just means they're not there. I go by, you're either a hell yes or a hell no. So if you're not ready right now today, that's fine. But I have 10 other people that are a hell yes today that get the spot today. And you're going to have to wait until I have time to train you at a different time. And you guys want to know what? They wait for me to have time. When they have the money, they wait for me to have the time to train them and get them started the right way.
So I freaking love that. So leading into follow-ups, what is your method for follow-ups? Are you like organized? Are you like 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, like that whole thing? Or what do you do?
So when I'm following up, like here's the kind of the thing. So I do this on I do a monthly number. My number is 10. And if I have, you know how we all have, like, we sign up 10, like 2 usually quit right away, blah, blah, blah. So like I do 10. And when 2 quit immediately, like those 2 people, they get replaced at the end of the month. So, and I don't ever, like, I open them at different numbers at different times so nobody can ever guess what I'm doing. So when I open my positions, I think somebody's unmuted.
I'm trying to find, okay, I just removed them. Okay.
Okay, cool. So whenever I open my positions, and then they fill, and they fill, and they fill. And let's just, like, we have a promotion, like how we have the 49 whatever right now. I go back to the people who didn't start, and I give them the opportunity to start right now, today. So my follow-ups run like that, because and it took me time to I want to make sure I clarify this too. It took time to get to this spot. It took like 3 months. Yeah, go ahead, and it says Natalie Ray is unmuted.
I'm looking for her. If you are not muted and you have a baby in the background, please mute yourself. I'm going to just remove anybody if you're not muted. I don't see anybody not muted.
Yeah, I think we're good. Okay.
I think
so
muted.
it took me like 2 solid months to get it to be this way. So I did have to message in the meantime, but it's important if you are wanting to have like the abundance flow come into your Instagram, and I only use Instagram. Like you'll see me post on Facebook or whatever, but it's not my source of like flow. I do Instagram. So every single time that I'm posting, I have people coming in, and that's who I sign up. Like I said, hell yes or hell no. So I get them started. And when it comes to like deals, or if I'm like, you know what, I have some extra time, like all my people are taking off, everything's good, I got some time today or tomorrow, I'm going to send messages to everybody and be like, hey girl, I'm about to open 2 positions to start working from home with me, and I wanted to offer it to you first before I open this publicly, because once it's public, it'll go within the hour. And they immediately, most of the time, they're game. And if they're not, I'm like, okay, unfortunately, like I can't guarantee like when I'm going to have another position open, because they go so fast. They know that I'm always in high demand. In the beginning, was I in high demand? No. But now I am in high demand because I made it that way, and I was consistently speaking that. So every time I talk about it, every time I say my spots will fill, they do fill. I do self-development, and I manifest the crap out of who I'm signing, how many are going to sign, and when they're signing, because it's just the way that my mind flows. So when I'm telling you, when you're talking to people, your confidence has got to be at a solid like 3,000 going into it. And you're like, You would be lucky to join my team. We have amazing leadership here. We know what we're doing. I can coach these people to make build $1 million business. So you go in there with that mindset instead of, I hope she signs up, I hope she signs up, and watch how many more people you sign because of your confidence.
I love that. Okay, I'm still looking for somebody. Dawn Mitchell.
Okay, hold on.
Whoa, sorry, Dawn. You are. Gosh. Trying.
Whoever has an LG tribute dynasty or something, LG tribute something, we can hear you talking to your kids.
Dawn, I think Dawn Mitchell is the, I'm trying to, you got to meet yourself, girlfriend. Okay. Okay. Oh, it's so crazy when people, okay, who is that with the baby? Brittany, I might need your help. I know you made me host, but I don't know why I can't remove.
Janny, if you go to the top, it always shows who's unmuted at the top. So like it'll say your name at the top and then whoever's speaker, and then anyone that's accidentally unmuted themselves is going to be right under the speaker, and you should be able to click them and mute them.
Okay. Nobody, whoever it is, probably got it. Okay, they're gone.
Okay, they're still not muted. I can see their little microphone turning green.
It's LG, yeah, it's LG Tribute. Okay. She is, okay, she's gone. Sorry, LG Tribute, you're out of here. All right. Okay, Katie, something that I think is super interesting that I don't think we've really touched on, but I'm just going to ask you, how many potentials do you have right now, would you say? Just ballpark on your list right now that you're talking to.
Hundreds. And here's the thing, like, I'll be honest, I'm not a list girl, okay? I'm not a list. I know, and I have the worst mom brain of my life. You could probably tell me one thing and I'll forget it in 5 minutes. But when it comes to Instagram, I know people by their photos. So when I'm going through, interaction is the biggest thing. If you want to sign distributors and you aren't liking and commenting and talking and messaging people, like, I am big on sending messages for relationships. So when I go through stories, I'm messaging people off of that, and I know them and I know if they were interested because of that. And so because I already have that relationship, I have like probably thousands of social media besties is what I call them, like all my social media friends. So I know them by that. And so I would just say like hundreds, like I don't even know, maybe probably thousands, honestly. Anybody on my Instagram, you're my potential.
Okay. And then what is your favorite tip for, like, you just signed up your new distributor, Sally. She just signed up last night. Once she gets her first 4 loyal customers, like, what is the first thing you're going to teach her to go out and sign and get herself set for this bonus and sign distributors?
Okay, so that's funny. That's what I'm doing after this is my newbie training video. So basically, how to train my newbies. When they get started, their first goal is 4 loyal customers. You've got to get your shopping spree. I will not talk distributors until you have your shopping spree. Then we go for 500 club. Once you're in the 500 club, we can talk getting distributors. If you want to go Ruby in 30 days, then you better get to the 500 club as fast as you possibly can if you want me to train you on it. And when I change that about my training, all of a sudden everybody's getting to the 500 club ASAP. Like, and then they're on to signing their own distributors because they're already confident on how to sign loyal customers. They know what's going on. They kind of know how to coach that, what host to post is, how to be a product of the product, all the things. And then they can go into going to Ruby very quickly because they already know about the other side of things.
So do you have them start with, at that point, they get to 500, and I love that, actually, I just wrote that down, 500 club. When they get there, you have them start sending out messages to their warm market, or start, what would you tell them to do at that point?
In the 500 club, or once you get to the 500 club, like, which, by the way, for those of you guys in the chat that don't know, it's 500 personal volume. Like, so they personally enroll 500 in sales. So what I teach them to do leading up to that is every time they get a customer, they have to talk about it on a post. Like, it's the law. And then like, they get their shopping spree, post. That's the law. So that's 5 immediate posts about success. And then I have them talking about how they're talking to people. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. You know, I have so many people that are reaching out about the products. If I haven't gotten back to you yet, just hold on. I'm getting back to everybody by tonight. Creating that urgency, creating that importance, like everybody wants to talk to me kind of a thing. Then when it comes time, like they get to the 500 club, it is an accomplishment. This is our first promotion. When you're in my team, like 500 club is your first promotion, not Ruby. So you get to the 500 club, I make a scene, we do a post. In the team page, we do a post on my personal page, you get shouted out everywhere. I basically make you feel like you're worth millions of dollars because you did this. And that is their first like win. So then at that point they say, I've already been so successful in their posting, and they kind of like got the catch on that. And then they're going to message everybody who's liking those posts. And they should already have been building relationships. So when it comes to this, they're going to get a lot of people like, oh my gosh, you've already hit your first promotion in your first week. This is crazy. Like, I want info. So it's all about leading up to, like, all your successes are shared. Everything that you've been doing gets shared, and then your promotion, and then keeping up with those relationships during all those things. Then when you post that you promoted, like, they usually have like an influx of likes and all the good stuff. So they have people to a lot more people to message, especially after that post.
Okay. I love that. I'm trying to write all this down too. Okay. And then what would you say to somebody who says they've been in a funk for a while? Maybe they haven't signed a DT for like a month or longer. What is your best advice for that person?
What are you doing to grow is the first question I have for you. If you're in the same spot where I was at Triple Diamond for a long time and I got angry, like straight up pissed off that I was at Triple Diamond, and I felt like honestly, that was the one point in my business where I was like, this is it. Like, I'm only ever going to be a Triple Diamond. And like, this is embarrassing. Like, I always said I was going ambassador and I'm stuck. And what was really stuck was I was so comfortable in my life. I mean, making $10,000 a month, coming from where I couldn't even afford food. I had an extreme coupon to put food in my stomach, to making over $10,000. And really, my husband was a double, I was a triple. We were making really good money. I had to make myself figure out, what did I want more that would have to like require me to step up and do more. And once I figured out what I wanted, which was a lot, I wanted to buy my dream home, right? And so I started thinking about how that was going to happen. And I wanted to pay off debt. And so how's that going to happen? I need more money. So what I did was figured out my why and what made me want, like, fired me up. I told you guys I was red. Money fires me up. So I need to know, how much money will it require for me to do this, this, and this? And then I knew like what my new game plan was. So you need to revisit your why. Like, if you're not moving, you're stuck, it's not important enough. You don't care enough. Otherwise you wouldn't be there in that position where you're at right now. So figure out, and I'm talking like, I told my team, like, when it came to the truck that I bought, it was my dream truck. And I wanted it, all the things that I like, priced out what I wanted. I wanted a black truck. I wanted to have the lift. I wanted this to be in it. I wanted all the special features. I wanted the air conditioned seat. I wanted the top dog truck when it came to that. So I went out, I priced it out. How much is this going to cost me? And I figured out and went and put all the money into it. And it was all about that. But until I have little goals that I have to hit. And I know, like, if I don't make this income, I'm not going to be able to do this thing. I need this much to pay off this Zach student loans, my husband. I need to be able to make this much money a month to make this happen. Figure out whatever it is you want, whether it's a vacation, because I just told my team this the other day, it's the middle of July. Have you been on vacation this year? Because half the year is gone. Do you want a vacation? Like, you have got to start saving money to do that. And a lot of people don't realize, like, it's the middle of the year. We're like almost halfway done of 2019. Like, have you went where you want to go? Have you been doing something fun with your kids? Like, the school's almost back in session. Figure out what you want to do, figure out how much it will cost you, and work accordingly to that goal. And don't let yourself push it back, because that's just letting yourself give another excuse as to why you can't have it, because you can have it all if you have that discipline.
I love it. Okay, and last question, do you still journal daily?
Every day, like every day. That is a non-negotiable. And even if my children are wild in the morning, because nobody's perfect, okay? I would love to be able to wake up and have quiet time and journal and yada yada in the morning and everything be perfect and peaceful. But it's not like that. So if I don't get to do it in the morning because my children are nuts, then I do it either at nap time or I do it at night. And either way, it's still just as effective, but you need to make sure journaling is the number one thing that you want to do in your business if you want to succeed. Like, it's a non-negotiable, you have to.
I love it. Oh, I started journaling a lot once I watched that podcast, and it's totally been a game changer. So thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Lady. All right, Brittany, are you still?
Hey.
All right, girl, take it away.
So hey everybody, my name is Brittany Hayes. I'm Ambassador Diamond. I just celebrated my 3-year anniversary actually just a couple weeks ago, and also just went Emerald on my 2.0 the end of last month, just 6 weeks after opening it. Oh my gosh, my story with this business has just been such a crazy ride. I actually had a slow start in the beginning when I got started. I watched a girl on social media for a while and just watched her completely and radically change her family's life. And I had never heard of this business before, but I just couldn't shake the feeling that God was putting her posts in front of me for a reason, and that I needed to do it too. And for so long, for 11 months to be exact, I kept talking myself out of it, kept letting fear get in the way. I told myself, oh, I probably wouldn't be any good at it, or oh, people wouldn't like me like they liked her. But because she was so fiercely consistent with her posting about it and posting about what this business was doing for her, I just couldn't shake that feeling. So that's tip number 1, be so consistent. I just literally in the past 48 hours have signed several people that have watched me since I started, which is 3 years. And so you just never know the life cycle of the seeds you're planting. We'll get into that in a little bit. But basically, after 11 months of watching her, we were in a place where we desperately needed a financial miracle more than ever. We were having to put gas and groceries on a credit card. My husband was working so hard so I could stay home with our, at the time, 4 kids. We actually have 5 kids now. I was literally laying awake at night, couldn't sleep. I was so overwhelmed with anxiety. And I'm the type of person, like, I'm not naive to think money's going to grow on trees and it's going to fall from the sky. Like, I knew nothing was going to change and nothing was going to get better for us if we didn't make a change. And I knew God was telling me, if you want to change, then make a change. I've been putting the solution in front of you all this time. So one night I just reached out to the girl I'd been following, completely with faith, jumped in, never looked back. She had no clue I was watching her journey and interested in the business. I had never said a word to her about it. And so let that be a reminder to you. You don't know who's watching you right now, who is very, very interested in joining your team, who has never said anything to you about it. I kind of just, when I joined, I had the mindset that, okay, if it works for her, it'll work for me. God doesn't have favorites. If he's going to bless the work of her hands, he'll bless the work of my hands too, but I've got to be willing to show up and work hard. And so from that day forward, I just committed to being a student. I had kind of a slow start. The month that I joined, June of 2016, they had a $500 Ruby bonus if you went Ruby in your first 60 days. I didn't get that. I missed it. So did my husband. It took me 4 months to go Ruby. A lot of people that joined that same month as me on my same big team that I joined were going Ruby in like 2, 3, 4 weeks. And I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? What am I not doing? But I just kept going. Something inside of me was like, you may be going at a different pace, but it's going to pay off for you. I went Ruby in 4 months. In 7 months, I was earning more than my husband was. And so we retired him and brought him home. By our 1-year anniversary, we went triple diamond. He was my double diamond. By that point, we were earning 6 figures with this business. And so I want to say it's not how you start, it's how long you're willing to go. It's how much you're willing to persevere. A lot of those same people who went Ruby their first 2 weeks, they quit when they didn't go diamond the next month. But I've always been from the moment I joined this business, I've had that long-term mindset, like what can this business do for me in the long term? And I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to attract people to you who are going to be with you for the long haul, that has to be your mindset from day one. You cannot have this mindset of like, well, if I don't promote by the end of next month, then maybe it's not for me. That being said, I sat at triple diamond for 17 months. Kind of like Katie said, that's the longest I've ever sat at a rank. And I was on such a high from going triple diamond in a year that it definitely kind of messed with my head sitting at triple diamond for 17 months. But I learned the toughest lessons during that time. God taught me so much. And 17 months after sitting at triple diamond, I went presidential. 5 months after going presidential, I went ambassador, immediately opened my 2.0, and now I'm emerald. It's going to go diamond this month. And I'm just so hungry for what's next, because I know that even as much as God has blessed us with this business up until now, we've paid off over $120,000 of debt. We've moved down to South Florida. I can give my kids all the things that I used to have to tell them, no, not right now, maybe one day. But even so, all of that, I know the best is yet to come, because I know what's possible with this business, and I'm just so excited.
Yeah. Okay. So what is your main platform, Facebook or Insta? And then what is your #1 method for how you get your new potentials?
Yeah, so I use Facebook and Instagram equally. I would say usually most of my enrollments probably come from Instagram, but I don't treat them any differently. Not one of them gets any more attention from me. I give them equal attention. I do the same thing on both platforms. And I practice 100% attraction marketing, and that's what I've done from the beginning. I've never once sent a cold message in my life. This entire time in the business, I'm consistently a mass enroller every single month. I enroll on a slow month, probably about 10 to 12 distributors, and on a good month, I enroll 20 or more. My highest month has been over 40, and they come to me. And the reason why is because I am relentlessly consistent. My 6 list is not just a good idea to me. It's something that I do just like brushing my teeth. Like it doesn't matter if my kids have like the stomach bug, like those things that are non-negotiables to me are truly non-negotiable to me. And what I will tell you is the moment you have a non-negotiable list that is just as important as eating, showering, brushing your teeth, your business will soar and people will come to you too. But here's the thing. People want to follow someone who knows where they're going. And so if you want someone who is serious about this business and wants to work this business and run with you to join your team, you've got to be that person. You've got to be that consistent person that shows up day in, day out and doesn't let their feelings control them. I had a lot of negativity I had to encounter in the beginning of my business. I had family that made fun of me. I had, people that blocked me. I had people that said, mean things on Facebook, all of those things. But I knew that God put this business in front of me for a reason. And I knew that my mindset had to be 100%. And so that's one thing. And this is kind of tying into attraction marketing, and then I'll get back into more of the like tangible tips. But before you can really start attracting people to you, you've got to like get what's going on in here and in here right. And that comes from self-development. Your mindset is 100% contagious. Guard your words. If you're going to your enroller or your team chat or something like that, and you're like, it's just been a terrible week, like no one's coming, like I'm following up with everyone, no one's signing. If that's the kinds of things you're saying, I can tell you right now, no one's going to sign. You could go make 50 posts today and no one is going to sign because your mindset is contagious. Your vibe is going to either attract people to you or it's going to repel people from you. And there's enough negativity in the world already. People don't want to join a Debbie Downer. They want to join someone who is pumped up and knows where they're going. And so even if it is a crazy day and you have nothing seemingly going right, you've got to still be positive. You still got to show up and know the best is yet to come. Because when you show up every day and that's your attitude, the best is yet to come. I write down my affirmations every single day. It's not quite maybe the exact journaling style that Katie was talking about, but I just every single day, one front page, I write down my affirmations. And I can show you flipping back things that I wrote long before they ever came to pass. But I believed they were going to happen. I wrote them down and I claimed it. I literally on January 1st, you guys, the beginning of this year, which you can't see because my home screen is like covered with notifications, but the home screen of my iPhone has what I wrote on January 1st. And one of the things said top 20, one of the things says Ambassador Diamond. There's several other things. I just found out I was number 19 when numbers came out. Win Ambassador Diamond in April. But you know what? Like I wrote that sitting January 1st, number 75. A presidential diamond, still kind of a long way from ambassador, but I put that out there knowing that if I worked hard, that it could happen. And that's what I'm going to tell you is the biggest secret in this business to signing distributors, to doing anything you want to do, is you have to work hard and know it's going to happen. You can't work hard and not have faith, and you can't have faith and not work hard. The Bible tells us faith without works is dead. And so the two have to work together. If you're posting and you're doing all the right things, but you have a terrible attitude, not going to work. If you have a phenomenal attitude, but you're kicked back watching Netflix and you're like, Lord, bring me some distributors, that's not going to happen either. And so that being said, the mindset, I honestly think is just something that doesn't get talked about enough. And so often we're looking for someone to give us like secrets to make things work, but the magic you're looking for is in the work that you're avoiding. Your mindset has to be on par, first and foremost. So what I do is I post 3 to 6 times on Facebook and Instagram. I post 3 to 6 times a day about my life, my story, what the business is doing for me. I drop the business in my posts any chance I get. I heard probably about a year ago that you should be telling your story a minimum of 10 times a day. And so what does that mean? That means if you're not in enough conversations, like you don't have 10 people that day that have come to you, like maybe, I had 7 people that had come to me that day. Okay, well then my story needs to be in my story and on my Facebook and Instagram the other 3 times. Like your story needs to be floating around so many times. That way you're consistently having people to talk to. So I never ever go a day without telling my story on Facebook and Instagram. with a call to action at the end, but some days I post it 2-3 times. Any chance that I can just drop it into my post, like maybe we're at the park and my kids are playing and I say, never in a million years did I dream that I could play with my kids at the park and bring in an income all off my smartphone. But that's the beauty of 2019 and fresh opportunities. That's something short, sweet, and to the point, but that's something that a mom that's, away at work and her kids are in daycare and she's hating her life is going to see and be like, what is she doing working off her smartphone? And so any chance that I can drop the business, even in little short things like that, I'm going to do. And people who are following me, they know that I'm passionate about what I'm doing because they're seeing me consistently talk about it day in, day out. But the second side of this coin is that you've got to be growing your network consistently. You cannot just market to the same, 5 people every single day. Someone's muted again. Okay. You cannot market to just the same, 5-10 people every single day. You've got to be growing. Even if you came into this with a little bit of a network, you still got to be growing. I always tell people, like, if someone opens a restaurant, they're not going to rely on all their friends and family to keep the restaurant in business. Like, they're going to have an aggressive marketing plan to reach people from all over, from the surrounding areas, so they can keep the restaurant open. It's the same thing with our business. Like, you've got to make sure that you're constantly growing. Part of my non-negotiables on my 6 list every day is I add 10 to 15 friends on Facebook and I follow 200 people on Instagram. When I got started, I only had 230 followers on Instagram, and now today I have over 10,000. But that's just been from doing that daily, from showing up daily and following people. So it's a simple thing that anyone can do, but you got to do it. So growing your network, and then being so consistent with your posts is huge. But then also following up until they sign and learning to overcome objections like it's your job. If someone comes to me, I do not get waylaid when they have an objection because I know that I know the truth. I know that I know the facts and they don't. I'm the expert. They're coming to me for help. So I'm not going to get, thrown out of the loop when they have a little objection, when they ask me, oh, is this a pyramid scheme? Like, I don't care what objection they have because I've got the answers. But you've got to get in that frame of mind where it's okay if there's objections your way. It's your job to overcome objections and you can. I'm telling you, that is what I see just personally as one of the biggest things that stands in between people and signing more distributors is claiming up anytime an objection is coming. And self-development will help you with that, because the more self-development you do, you will be so confident, you will be so bold. But just like, if there's anything that I can say, it's that you have to get in that frame of mind where it doesn't matter what they're saying, you're going to be able to overcome it. John Maxwell always says, fortune favors the bold. If you take nothing else away from what I'm saying right now, write that down. Fortune favors the bold. You cannot, bury your head in the sand and get, clammed up every time someone says something. You've got to overcome that. You got to rip the Band-Aid off and just commit to growing every single day. The next thing that I do is I voice message all my potentials. Most of my potentials have never, ever met me in real life. They literally have just recently started following me in the past, couple weeks, sometimes in the past couple days. And so the quickest way to build up trust and tear down walls is to voice message them. And I hear a lot of people say things like, oh, I don't like my voice, or oh, whatever. Okay, well, I don't really either. And sometimes I stutter and say things I wish I didn't say, but you know what? That just shows them I'm a real person. And I can microwave a relationship with someone that I just met in about 7 minutes and have them in eSuite, because when they hear my voice, they know I am a real person. If they have any concern, when I voice message them, I can overcome it in 1 minute voice message. And so the best thing I can say is, like, don't make something take 3 days that could have taken 30 minutes. Don't make something take 3 months that could have taken a couple days. Excuse me, I have hiccups. Voice messaging will just propel you forward so much faster, and it's more time efficient. Like, I don't have to sit there and type something up all day. I can just literally voice message them, seal the deal, and move on to whatever else I've got going on that day. And then the other thing that I wanted to say, part of how I personally, work my own style of attraction marketing, is anytime someone joins, I'm going to say that in a post. So anytime someone joins, I'm mentioning it in like a lifestyle post, like, out to dinner with my husband and just welcomed a new business partner. I'm so excited for her. Can't wait to teach her how seamlessly this business fits into her life, just like it has for me. or something like that. But then the second thing that I do, and this is something I've done probably for about 2 years now, since like I was about a double diamond, and it has been golden for me, is I make like a work from phone position filled graphic and over that's of me, like it's me sitting there on my phone. It's a picture my husband took of me, and I have written on it just work from phone position filled. If you look at my Facebook or Instagram, you can see them from the last few days, people that I've signed. But that being said, every time I sign a distributor, I post this exact same graphic, and it says like the same thing every time. Like, I'm so excited for Jenna. She just claimed to work from phone position with me. She's now going to be bringing in income all off her smartphone, blah, blah, blah. And like Katie said, I set a certain amount of spots open at the beginning of every month, and I count down. So every time I'm posting one of those, I'm like 7 more spots left, 6 more spots left, 5 more spots left. And so that puts a sense of urgency. If you've been watching since I said 20 spots and now you see I have 4, you better jump on it. And I literally just got a text tonight from someone that said opportunity, any left, ? So people know that like I'm over here welcoming people left and right. You better get on the train. And that just reinforces my message. It reinforces that, I'm helping people constantly. And it also just puts that sense of urgency if someone is delaying. But I do that on Facebook and Instagram. I archive them in Instagram like 24 hours later, just because I don't want them clogging up my feed. I do leave them up on Facebook. But since starting doing that just gets me even more potentials, because I always put at the bottom message or text opportunity to, and I put my phone number, to claim one of the remaining work from phone positions with me. And so that being said, that's like just another thing that lures people in. Like, I will get text from that post, but maybe not the story post that I did that was a personal picture of me a little bit later. So that's just like an extra thing to do.
Brittany, really quick, will you go over your non-negotiables, your daily 6?
Yeah, absolutely. So I add 10 to 15 friends a day on Facebook. I follow 200 people on Instagram. I spend minimum of 15 minutes, but I'll be honest, it's usually more than this, but minimum of 15 minutes engaging. So like liking and commenting on people's posts. I have a rule: if I scroll past the post, it's getting liked, commented, or if it's Instagram, I'm going to unfollow you. Like, I'm either liking your post, commenting on your post, or if it's a post that I'm like, ooh, why am I seeing this? I'm just going to unfollow. So get in the habit of like no scrolling without there being a point to it. That's the easiest way to make that a habit. Okay, so Facebook friends, following on Instagram, engaging, and then I post minimum 3 to 6 times a day. It does not matter if it's the worst day of my life. I will not post less than 3 times a day. That is just a standard I set for myself a long time ago as like an executive, and I've never steered from it. And maybe that isn't going to be what your standard is, but here's the thing: you have to have a standard. If you have no standard, there's nothing to hold you accountable. It's really easy when your kids are being crazy and throwing tantrums, or you're sick, or you and your husband have been arguing that night, or whatever. It's really easy to do nothing when you have no standard. But when you have a standard, you're going to hold yourself to it. So 3 to 6 is my standard. On a great day, I'm going to be upwards of 6. If it's a day that life is crazy, I might only have the 3. I follow up with anyone that I talked to yesterday. So if I talked to you yesterday and I voice messaged you info, and then you asked me a question, I voice messaged you again, and then nothing, I'm going to check back in the next day, whether it's products or business. And then the 6th thing is self-development. And like I already shared, that is the most important thing. Literally, if you are doing all the other things and not doing self-development, in my opinion, and I feel like I'm pretty accurate about this, the rest of it's a waste, because everything is in vain if you're not doing self-development. The tide will always rise and fall on your self-development. I can show you the months that I've done the most self-development, that I've finished the most books, and I can show you my enrollments that match up with it. And the months that I'm personally slacking on my self-development, and I don't ever not do self-development. I'll be honest with you guys, I've never had like a month I did no self-development. But the months that I'm doing bare minimum, guess what? I'm getting bare minimum enrollments. That's the months I'm enrolling more like 10 distributors instead of 20. And so self-development is crucial. If you haven't been doing it at all, there's no shame in just owning up and fixing it right now, but you cannot conquer what you won't confront. So if you're telling yourself like, oh, well, I mean, I hop on my team Zoom once a week, that's not self-development. That's great, but that's once a week. You've got to be doing more than that. My personal goal is to finish a book every week, an audiobook every week. And again, that kind of goes back to that standard, like with posting. If you have no standard, there's nothing, you're just floating around like just lost. So set a standard. Maybe you haven't read a book this whole year. So maybe your standard should start off being that you're going to listen to a book a month and then, up it from there. But here's the thing. And I always tell, people this on coaching calls when they're like, that's just so much. I don't know how I could do a book a week. Audiobooks are literally like 5 to 7 hours long. So if you're doing just an hour of self-development a day, you can finish a book a week. It's not that much. And I'm telling you, when you look back at your business 6 months from now, after being so consistent with your self-development, you will be blown away. Like, it is quite literally the most profitable thing that you can do. So for me, I make sure that I'm having personal self-development and spiritual self-development every day. I do a sermon in the morning, like Stephen Furtick. I subscribe to his YouTube channel and Elevation Church. I literally think of him as like the It Works pastor. I never even heard of him before this business. And then I also subscribe to Dr. Darius Daniels from Change Church. If you want someone to light a fire under you, you just watch him in the morning. Like, he's amazing. But that being said, I do a sermon in the morning when I have my coffee and stuff like that. And then when I'm getting ready, when I'm driving, when I'm, doing anything, taking a shower, putting my makeup on, doesn't matter. I have an audiobook on. And so that's how I'm finishing a book a week. It's just any spare pocket of time in the day. Even if it's not spare, like I'm doing nothing, like folding laundry, like it doesn't matter. There's going to be an audiobook on. And so get in the habit of just being super efficient with your time. If you're doing, anything that you can put a book on in background, put a book on the background. No radio in the car, just books. I'm telling you, it will change your business.
I love that. Who was the name of the second pastor again?
Darius Daniels. I can spell it in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And then let's talk for a couple minutes about your tips. I know you're super awesome at duplication with your new team. So how are you teaching your new distributors to come in? And I did see somebody a little bit ago in the chat, which I think is a good one to cover, when you don't have a story, right? Everyone that comes in, nobody has a story when they first start. So what do you say to that?
Yeah. So number one, I always tell people, like, if you had to have a success story to sign distributors, then none of us would ever have success, because we would never be able to sign distributors till we had success. So that right there, you've got to debunk that, and you got to get that out of your head that that's real life, because it's not real life. People want to follow someone who knows where they're going, plain and simple. The day that you start showing up and you start carrying yourself like a boss who's going better places than a 9-to-5 job that you hate, people will start coming along, I promise you. One of my triple diamonds on my team today, she joined the month that I went diamond, but she reached out to me when I was just an executive, and she ended up sharing, she had no clue I was just an executive. She ended up sharing with me later on that when she reached out to me as an executive, she thought I was like a top leader in this company because of the way that I was posting. And we had never talked about how much money I was making or anything like that, but just the way I was posting about how amazing this business was and how big of a blessing it was to my family, she just assumed, like, oh, she must be like making millions over there. And so that just goes to show you, it's never about how much success you've actually had. It's never about how much money you've made. I know, ambassadors that don't inspire me as much as emeralds in the company. It's all about how you're carrying yourself. And so how I teach my new distributors to start, telling their story and attracting distributors to them from the beginning is just plain and simple, just telling their enroller story. So if I enrolled them, telling my story. So just something like, for months and months, I watched a girl on social media rapidly change her life through a business she worked off her smartphone. I always wondered if it was something I could do too. I finally reached out to her, and I'm so excited. I'm now working off my smartphone too, and I can't even wait to see what the rest of 2019 holds for my family. If you have been praying for an opportunity, consider that maybe you're seeing this post for a reason. I would love so much to talk to you. Message me or text opportunity to, and then put their phone number. And I'm super real with my distributors about not questioning what works and doing what I teach them to do. I have people all the time that are like, oh, I feel weird putting my phone number. And I'm like, I don't care, put your phone number. You texted me the word opportunity. That's how you signed. And they're like, oh yeah, that's true. And so I think it's super important. Like, if you're on here and you're new, listen to the person you trusted to when you join this business. If you trusted them enough to get started, trust them enough to take their advice. If you joined someone who was also brand new, you guys need to be both listening to their enroller, their diamond and above leader, whatever. But take advice from the people who are where you want to be. Don't question everything. What holds people back all the time is if they're questioning all the advice given to them. And so I'm super real with my new distributors. If you do what I teach you to do, I promise you'll be successful, but you have to be willing to do what I teach you to do and grow through the process, even if you feel uncomfortable from times. And the ones who lean in and they listen and they're teachable, they do very well. They immediately start signing their own distributors. So I teach them to tell their story, put that call to action at the end. I help them get in a good posting routine right out of the gates. I tell them that I think 3 to 6 times is a great posting flow. If they want a different flow, that's fine, but there needs to be a standard. And I'm very unapologetic about that, because you have to hold yourself to a standard if you're going to be a business owner, and you're taking your business seriously. I work with them on taking good pictures, editing their photos. I am just a firm believer that any skill can be taught. I'd rather have someone come in that has no skill, but has a phenomenal attitude and is willing to learn, than someone come in with 20,000 Instagram followers and a horrible attitude and isn't willing to listen to anything I teach them to do. So I want you to know, if you're on here and you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm terrible at taking pictures, I feel so insecure about all the things that I'm doing. If you can just adopt the mindset that, okay, you know what, I'm a hard worker and I'm willing to learn. I'll learn whatever my, uplines teach me. Then I promise you will be successful with this business, because that's all that it takes. When I came in, I had hardly any followers. I took horrible pictures. Time hop literally embarrasses me, you guys. I look back 3 years ago and I'm like, oh my gosh. But you know what? Like, I still signed people, and I've gotten better along the way. So that's the main thing I think with my new distributors, is just teaching them to post right away. And then I also teach them to voice message right away. My team knows that's a non-negotiable. If you send me screenshots and you butchered a conversation because you just typed out this, I'm going to immediately tell you, okay, I'm going to help you recover from this, but that can never happen again. We are voice messaging from here on out. And the reason why for this, and I talked about this on my panel at conference, voice messaging is very forgiving. You can ramble on a voice message and it doesn't sound that bad. But if you sit there and send someone a book, it's overwhelming. Like, a confused mind says no. So if you just sent them, 18 paragraphs to read, they might not read it. But if you send them a voice message and you ramble on a little bit, it's okay. It's forgiving and it's personal. So that's kind of the main things, is just getting my team, focused on being personal. I'm really big on teaching them to overcome objections right away. So my newbies know they can send me any objection, day or night. I'm going to tell them exactly what to say. But once I help you overcome that, you've got to be willing to start overcoming that confidently, and not freaking out every time an objection is thrown your way. So just, basic things like building confidence and being willing to be consistent with their 6 list.
Awesome. I love that. Okay. And yes, we are recording. Somebody was saying, we are recording, so don't worry. Don't freak out. Last question I have, how do you flip the conversation from a loyal to a distributor, and do you sign loyals and upgrade them often, or do they usually just sign from nothing?
All the time. Yeah. So I have a lot of loyal customers that sign as distributors. I just signed a distributor yesterday who's been my loyal customer for 8 months. And it kind of the way that I go about it, a lot of times they'll just come to me. They've been my customer for a while. They love the products and they've watched me be so consistent and post my story day in and day out. And they'll come to me and be like, hey, can you tell me about the business side? But then sometimes what happens is maybe they come to me and they say they have to turn their auto shipment off. They say money's so tight. And even when I tell them about perk points or whatever, they're like, oh, I really do wish I could, but money's so tight. If they say that, immediately the conversation's going to being a distributor. And 9 times out of 10, they join. And so I'll talk about how I flip that in just a second, but I want to give one other example. If I'm following up with a potential customer over and over and over again, like I followed up with them like 7 Fridays in a row, and they keep saying next Friday comes, they don't have money, I'm bringing up the business, usually sooner rather than later. I don't usually even wait that many times. But basically what I'll say is like, hey, I totally understand. That was my life before this business. Money was always so tight. I never had any extra. I know the feeling. Trust me, girl, I get it. No worries. But hey, I just have to ask, have you ever thought about doing what I do? I think you would be so amazing at it, and I know it would be such a blessing in your life, and I would love so much to help you. And I voice message that because, again, I want them to immediately hear how genuine I'm being. I want them immediately to hear my confidence, and I want to transfer that confidence over onto them. And I want them from that very beginning, when I tell them I understand how they feel with money being tight, I want them to know I really do. I don't want to just be this like, cool typed out message. And so again, 9 times out of 10, when I say that, they're coming back and they're like, I would absolutely love some info. And even if they don't sign right there on the spot, they sign within however many follow-ups. But what I will say, because I think this is just important to note, I have had people that have said they could not afford a $33 bottle of hair, skin, and nails, but will sign up right there on the spot and pay $99 to start a business. It's all about what you see value in. And if someone, can't justify hair, skin, and nails, but when you bring it up to them, like, hey, I totally understand. Don't worry. I couldn't afford, anything for myself before this business either. But have you ever thought about doing what I'm doing? I would love to help you. Immediately they realize, like, holy cow, this sounds pretty bad. I can't even afford something that costs $30. I should definitely hear what she has to say. And I have signed so many people that way. And they literally, it's amazing. People who literally swore they had no money on the spot will pay the $99 to join because they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so I think that is definitely one of the best things that you can do if someone expresses that money is tight, is just flip it right to the business. And like I said, even if they don't join right that second, it's not a matter of if they're going to join, it's a matter of when, which leads me to my last thing. I meant to say this before, but I just want to say before I wrap this up that you don't know the life cycle of the seeds that you're planting. Every seed that you plant has a certain life cycle. So some seeds you may plant them and you may harvest the harvest like the next day. Someone may see a post you make tonight and sign tomorrow. But some people will literally watch you for, 6 months. Some people will watch you for 18 months. I literally signed a person yesterday that has watched me for 3 years. And the day before that, I signed someone else that's watched me for 3 years. And so you just don't know the life cycle of the seed you're planting. But here's the thing. If you always plant seeds, you will always have a harvest to reap. But the way that you can talk to people with that confidence and that excitement and not get bummed out if someone doesn't sign right away is by planting all the time. The difference between someone who has like that desperation coming through when they're talking to someone because they like want them to sign so bad right this second versus someone whose conversations are so fluid and carefree. And they're like, kind of like Katie was saying, like, if you want to join, you can join, but I've got people joining regardless whether you're joining. That confidence comes from always planting. But if you don't ever consistently plant, you'll never have that confidence. And so the best parting advice I can give to everybody is plant, plant, plant. Be unwaveringly faithful. Be relentlessly consistent. If you show up every single day, even on the weeks that you're not signing hardly anybody, and you keep doing what you know to do, God will bless the work of your hands. But so often he's testing us. He's testing us. Are we still going to show up? Are we still going to be faithful even when things are hard, even when we're not seeing the immediate fruit? But I literally just had someone ask me, I just signed my 10th distributor before this Zoom. And I had someone from my team ask me, they said, how are you signing so many people, this month already? And I literally responded back. I said, this is the result of seeds that I've been planting for 3 years. I have showed up day in, day out and planted seeds for this entire 3 years of the business. I've planted seeds when it's been the worst week of my life, and I planted seeds when it's the best week of my life. And so when there's a promotion like this, like, I know I'm going to sign a lot of people. If there's not a promotion like this, I still know I'm going to sign a lot of people because my seeds are floating all the way out there. But you'll never get to that point in your business if you don't consistently plant.
I love it. I love it. And honestly, sometimes checking in with people on my team, I have that conversation where it's like, I'm talking to a girl, she might sign Friday. I hear that all the time. I'm talking to a couple of people, hopefully one of them signs this week. It's like, talking to a couple people is better than talking to nobody, but I got a list that's 4 pages long. So constantly, if your funnel, you guys, is full, you have a constant drip or flow. But if you're talking to like 2 or 3 or 4 people and that's it, and you're just on their timeline and you've lost all control over when somebody's going to sign, because you cannot control when their yes time is. You can only control, how many people you ask. That's all you can control. So yeah, I love that. Okay. Thank you so much, Brittany. This has been incredible. I'm definitely going to be watching this myself so I can take better notes. Chad, are you on? I don't know.
I'm here.
Sweet. All right. Take it away. I'm super, super stoked that you're on. So now I'm going to make sure everybody else is muted and take it away.
Awesome. Well, hey guys, I'm excited to be on here. Congratulations to all of you. There's like 170 people on here on a Friday night, right? It's 9:15 my time. You guys are on here. So congratulations. There's many others that say they want to make their business work, but they're not here right now, right? So you guys are here. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Chad Kneller. My wife's Jeree Kneller. The 27th of this month, we will have been with It Works for 7 years. We've been full-time since February of 2014. We made $1 million in commissions in our first 35 months. And really we've averaged about 10 distributors, 9 or 10 distributors consistently monthly since we joined. So it's been almost 7 full years. And, and I had a couple aha moments I've had recently. Joel and Stephanie Dunn are the #1 earners in the entire company. And They've gone for the last 7 years every single week. Okay. So when you think about consistency and persistency and sowing seed consistently, right? Every single Friday, Stephanie's gotten at least one fast start bonus for 7 years straight. That is being consistent. Blair and Melody McFarland, who just celebrated 14 years with It Works, they've qualified. Hey, buddy, I'll be out there in a little bit. I'm on a Zoom, okay?
So Gavin was playing around. It wasn't me. And
1 second,
he was
guys.
playing
Sorry.
with his VR.
No worries. Just going to look through the chat a little bit. Well, if you guys have a question, and we'll check them at the end if we have time. We'll
I'm back. I'm back. We're good.
No worries. Okay.
So great. My wife and daughter are gone, so I'm in charge, and we've got extra kids over, and stuff's falling apart here with my wife being gone. So we'll get through it though, right? So 7 years. So anyway, McFarland's 14 years, and they've qualified ambassador every single month for like over 10, 11 years. So that's just so exciting to me that we have the ability to figure out how we can build this business and work this business so that we get our flow down, so that we consistently, regularly are signing up customers and are signing up distributors. And the one thing I want to bring you to, because I'm really, really big on mindset, because I know how much mindset changed me. Years ago, I was bankrupt and divorced, and life was not good when I was like 30, right? And what I had to realize that if I would change, then everything would change for me. So the biggest obstacle any of us have from where we are now to where we want to go is ourselves. It's just getting over ourselves. And so one thing I want to share today is that we are today where our thoughts have taken us. Okay. And so this is the biggest battle. Once you guys figure this out, you'll be great, because when you change your thoughts, you change your habits. When you change your habits, you change your action. When you change your action, you change your results. And so that's what needs to happen for every single person on here for you to get from where you are now to where you want to go. And all it really takes is you having a clear picture of where you're going to go. It's no different really than planning a vacation, right? We plan a vacation, like for example, end of August, we're going to Disney World. So we already have the dates. We've already got the plane tickets. We've already got the place booked. We've got all this stuff figured out and all this work, and we know pretty much how it's going to go. So if you want to be, let's say, triple diamond in 6 months, right? I just helping a family promote. They were diamond 2 months ago, sat down, had a game plan with them. They want to be triple by the end of October. So we set up a game plan so there is no question, right? No second guessing. When you know what your goal is and you see it clearly and you know the steps and the work that it's going to take to get there, then it's just a matter of doing it every day. For example, let's say for some reason you want to lose 24 pounds in the next year, right? That means you need to lose 2 pounds a month. And so that's about 1 pound every 2 weeks. So you need to lose about half a pound every week, right? So if you know you need to lose half a pound every week, it becomes very, very simple, because you learn what it takes. You learn that it takes a little more exercise and a little less calories going in, a little more calories going out. Change what you're eating, do these different things. It's not rocket science. It's the same thing with this business. You pull out a chart and you look at a chart and you go, okay, for me to be diamond, I need to have a team of about 15 distributors, and I need to have a minimum of 8,000 volume. And so when you start looking at that, you start to see that's about 500 per spot on your chart, right? Because the math works out. And so so just to kind of share with you guys, I'll give you a little more of the situation we were in. So my wife and I was in the military. I was an officer in the military. And when I joined the military, we had one small baby. And here we are 10 years later, and now we have 3 children. Our youngest is 2. And I'm getting increasingly frustrated with missing out on, the great things of life, right? Missing out on birthdays and holidays and just missing out on so much. So when my wife came to me, and she had found out about this wrap and she wanted to try it, I was kind of excited because I love this industry. I'd done different companies in the past prior to It Works, and I knew I loved the industry. So we got started in this business just right at 7 years ago. And a couple months into this, we were diamond, and I had to deploy to Afghanistan. Now, when I deployed, my wife quit working, but she kept getting paid as a diamond. Because we went diamond, we had about 17,000 volume, and we were excited that we just kept getting residual income. We kept getting paid when she stopped working, because I was gone and she was taking care of the kids, and she was in like a funk, right? She was in that season of, I don't want to do anything, right? And so some things happened, and I was able to come home early from that deployment. We found ourselves in January 2013 sitting at our first conference. So if you guys are on here, like, just share, because probably half of you on here have never been to a conference. So if you've been to a conference, just like put a little thing in here, like why conference is, like a little comment on what conference did for you. Because one year I tracked it, and we had 22 people on our team promote to double diamond or above in 1 year. And guess how many of them had gone to conference? 18. 18 of the 22 that went double diamond on our team that year had all gone to conference. So what do I know? I know the best way that I can help somebody is to get them to conference, get them to green carpet, get them to a try it. Like Pam Souter's like on tour right now. I've got the paper in front of me here. She's going to be in Baltimore, Maryland, and Vegas, and Pennsylvania, and California, and Indiana, and Tennessee, and Ohio, Florida, Alaska. Oh, maybe not Alaska. I'm going to Alaska. Mexico, there's an event coming up. So what we know is if you go to an event, you're going to get inspired. If you get your prospects to an event, they're going to get inspired. If you get your team to events, they're going to get inspired. Everybody you get to an event gets inspired. So one thing I'll add to everything that's been said tonight is, out of all the different skills you want to develop to become amazing in this industry, promoting events is the highest paid skill. Whoever takes the most people to conference, like, their teams just automatically explode because you get people there, right? Whoever gets the most people to try it, to sit down and listen, your teams are going to explode. Whoever has a lot of people at green carpet from September, whatever, to the rest of the year, your team is going to explode. So that's something that's really, really important to figure out. So my wife and I were at our first conference, and we sat there as diamonds. And I heard so many testimonials, and I was like, these guys are freaking incredible because look what they've accomplished. But on the other side of my mind, I'm thinking, these people are not polished. They're not like professional speakers. They're not like professional business people. I mean, I heard people there that they couldn't remember their own name. They grabbed the microphone. And they're like, I am, like, elbowing their husband, like, can you tell me what my name is? They're like freaking out, like in front of everybody, right, at conference. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, honey, I think we could do this too. Look, these people figured it out. They got it done. And they're all different, young and old. And I mean, I think in the company we've had a 18-year-old go to diamond and above when she was 18, probably a few by now. But so you can't say I'm too young, right, to be successful. And then we've had people in their 60s that hit high levels, so you can't say you're too old. And we've had really, really skinny people who are successful, so you can't say, well, I can't use the products. I'm already skinny, right? And we've had people who are larger people, and they're successful anyway, so you can't say, well, people won't take me seriously. So I take all your excuses away, and all of our excuses for Dree and I were taken away at that first conference. And we sat there and we went, oh my gosh, we can really do this. We have the same company backing us. We have the same products. We have the same compensation plan. Like, we have no excuses. There's no reason we can't. And so I remember at that particular conference, Mark said, hey, if you go, it was like January 16th. I'll never forget. We were sitting there at January 16th. And he said, if you go triple, but there was no double bonus, but if you go triple by the end of March, he would give us like a whatever bonus, right? And Dree looked at me and she said, is that possible? And I said, hey, through Christ, all things are possible. And we just saw a whole lot of people who have already done what we're getting ready to try and do. And she's like, okay, let's do it. So we went home and we worked our butts off. And that last day of March, we went triple. And then they extended the bonuses. And so we said, let's keep working our butts off. So we did it again, and we went presidential. So that 101-day run where we went from diamond to presidential, we've always qualified presidential or above since. It changed our lives completely in 100 days. And the reason why we were able to do it in 100 days is because we attacked it. We attacked the business. And so when you're talking about funnels and when you're talking about stuff, you can't willy-nilly this if you want to go big and you want to do it fast. Okay, you've got to, I mean, there was days I lost my voice because I was so many phone calls with so many people. Our goal every day was to get 5 people that we could educate them on the steps to success. That was our core goal. And so we chose to do it over phone calls. Some of you, obviously Facebook Messenger and texting, and there's a lot of ways to communicate, right? Voice memos, I think, are a little better than just texting or just messaging. But back then we wanted it, and I love to talk to people on the phone because I know if I can hear their voices and talk to them, I can adjust my conversation a little bit to speak their language and meet them where they're at. And so for me, it's just easier, and I prefer that. But I know everybody does it. And I know so many ambassadors like build and don't even hardly talk to anybody. So you can do it any way you want. But for us, we wanted to have 5 people every day. And we knew to have 5 actually get on the phone, we needed to have about 10 that scheduled an appointment with us that said, hey, we're available at this time. We want to talk to you. And I got to where I had every 20 minutes on my calendar, I was talking to another person. I was talking to another person. I was talking to another person. And we were talking to our own prospects, and we were doing that with our team. So I was literally just sharing the vision, right? I was sharing the It Works vision with people all day long for as much of the time as I could over those 100 days. And another thing, a thought we had, and again, what I said earlier was we are today where our thoughts have taken us, right? So it starts with a thought. I'll never forget the first day I said, Dree, do you think it would be possible that we could recruit 20 people in 1 month? And she's like, 20? She's like, what's the most we've ever done? I said, 14. So do you think it'd be possible? And she said, yeah, we did 14, but that was kind of when we were new. So we were talking to more warm market. So I don't know about 20. What would that look like? And so we freed our schedule up. We said, let's go for 20. And I think we hit like 17 that month and then 21 the next month. And we've had months where it was $99 where we recruited 30 or more when it was actually $99. And so it started in our mind, though. It started in thought. We challenge our team all the time to do steps to success, 3 distributors, 4 customers, because what I know is I have personally never met anyone in the entire company ever that's done steps for 12 months in a row and not been a minimum of double diamond. I don't think it exists. If it does, if you've done steps to success 12 months in a row and you're not double, please let me know so I can quit saying this, because I don't want to say something that's not true. But I have personally never met anyone, because what happens a lot is you'll have someone who does it 2 or 3 months in a row, right? And then they take a month or 2 off. And it's almost like if you're putting your popcorn in the microwave, I've actually done this before. If you put popcorn in the microwave, let's say it takes about 90 seconds to pop, right? It's 90. So what happens if you stop it after 30 seconds and you let it cool off for a minute? And then you start it again, and you let it cool off for a minute, and you start it again. How long does it take to get popping popcorn? It takes a while. You know, we have the 90-day challenge with It Works for a reason, because when people do a 90-day challenge and they stick to the routine and they change their habits and they're serious about doing it for 90 days, they will see a drastic difference from day 1 to day 90. Just like in your business, when you have a schedule and you have a plan and you're rock solid focused on growing your business, you'll see a huge growth from day 1 to day 90. Now it's day 8, 9, 10, 15, 22, where you don't feel like doing those things. That's the game changer right there. That's where your why has to be greater than your worry, right? Your why has to be greater than your reasons to do it, has to be greater than your reasons to not do it, or your excuses to not do it. That is the only game changer. I mean, people who, other than time and activity, right? Because every person in this business who's had crazy success probably been in longer and just talked to more people. That's the reality of the situation. But everyone that I've met that has really done this business at a high level, they're teachable and they're willing to work, and they've got ambition, right? They're just teachable. They're willing to work. They have ambition, and they know why they're doing it. They wake up every day knowing they see the future clearly. Okay, so if I can help you do one thing today, it's just see the future clearly where you want to go, and start understanding the thoughts and take responsibility. The thoughts that you have thought have gotten you so far in life, they've gotten you to where you are now. So to get to a new level, you have to get there with new thinking, right? New thinking is going to give you those new habits, and those new habits is going to give you those new activities. Those new activities will hit you, get you those new results. So we have a girl who in February, she did steps to success 10 times. You know, she was like a double diamond, made over $10,000 as a double diamond. And just a year ago, I'll never forget, she had signed like 20, she was doing a lot of host to post, and she'd signed like 20 customers in a month. And she talked to her dad, and her dad said, have you ever thought about signing 1 a day and going for 30? And she's like, no. And she thought about it, and she started intentionally going for that. And that was her goal. She did it the next month. And then he said, wow, you've done it. You sign a person every day now. What if you tried to sign 2 a day? And I think the next month she signed like 70 some loyal customers, because she thought, wow, if that's my daily goal, why not do it? So one thing we do on our team a lot is we hand out daily goals to people. I ask them what they want, and they say, okay, I want to go Ruby this month. And I go, okay, here's where you are. Here's where your volume's at. Here's your daily number. Like every day you need to add whatever, 300 volume to your team. That's whatever you do and your whole entire team does. That's your daily number. Do not go to bed until you've added 300. Because then what happens is you start thinking, okay, how do I get volume? I've got to sign new customers. I've got to upsell current customers. I've got to get my distributors to order something. I've got to sign new distributors. I've got to look up people who maybe aren't active anymore, or I've got to go through the credit card declines because I'm thinking about intentionally growing my volume. My sister went presidential diamond just a few months ago. And we said, hey, you got to do about 3,000 volume a day. I'm like, that is your number. Don't go to bed with your volume, your GV growing less than 3,000. And she would have days where it's 3,300, 3,400, and she'd have a 2,800 day. And she'd be like, we are not having a 2,800 day. I have to get something going to get 3,000. And almost every single day it was above 3,000. And guess what? She promoted to presidential diamond. So these are the kinds of things that if you implement them into your life, they are game changers because it's going to help you stay focused on the things that matter and the things that are going to actually get you to where you want to go. So I don't know if there's some specific questions. Sorry, guys, I hopped on here late. I was all messed up with the hour time thing. So I'm actually on here an hour long, and I don't want to talk all night because I know there's maybe more speakers or we're wrapping up. But did you have any questions for me?
I would love for you to quickly cover how you deal with negativity early on. And just so that someone who's new, who doesn't know that it takes 30 people ignoring you to get 3 people to respond and ask for info, but that's normal. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, so I try and set real expectations, first of all. So when someone joins, I say, hey, you're gonna be learning some new stuff in this business, and there's gonna be highs and there's gonna be lows, there's gonna be frustrations. If it was easy, everyone would do it. So it's not gonna be easy, but it's definitely gonna be worth it. So when you have a bad day or when someone frustrates you, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to call you up and help you through it, or do you want me just to leave you alone and give you a couple days? How do you want me to handle that? And usually they'll almost always say, no, I want you to call me up, give me a kick in the butt, remind me why I'm doing this. See, that's one of the best things you can do when you start a new distributor is find out why and help them dig in. If someone says, $300 to $500, okay, that's a starting point. Why? Why do you want $300 to $500? What would that do for you? Well, if we had an extra $500, that means I could take my kids to Disney World. We've never been able to go. We've always wanted to go. And I'm like, well, why do you want to go to Disney World? What will that do? Oh my gosh, I went when I was a little girl and I just know my kids would love it so much. And so it just continuing to ask. And when you're asking that, what you're doing is you're building a relationship with that person. You're putting more and more relational equity into that. And you're letting the person know that you actually care about them, care about their goals, and you care about their story. And then when you need to call them up, you can say, hey, remember that conversation? Remember that trip to Disney World? Remember how important it is for you to get there? Let's go. Let's get back. Let's get things going again. And so at the end of the day, when someone's negative, all you can do is you can remind them what they want, turn them around in a positive circumstance. But at the same time, if someone chooses to not be negative, at some point you have to say, if you're not willing to invest in yourself, why would I invest into you? Okay, because one thing I've learned in this business, you'll either grow or you're going to go. You either get better or you get left. And that's not because it's being mean or anything like that. It's just we only have 24 hours in a day, and we have to spend our time doing things that matter with people who care. And there's always going to be people. The people who normally want your time are the people who aren't earning your time. And so you have to teach people how they earn your time. And how people earn your time is just by being teachable and doing what you ask. So eventually you get to a point where your team already knows what you're going to say. So if they're negative or they're feeling negative, they probably won't even reach out to you because they're like, I know he's just going to tell me to be positive and go talk to 5 more people, and activity will make everything better because then I can sign someone up. And I mean, it's the same thing. If you guys ever get the opportunity to get on a call with Pam Souter and like to vent, she gives you about 1 minute. She gives you about a minute and she says, what are you going to do about it? Because at the end of the day, what are you going to do about it? I mean, okay, the world's fallen, it's bad. What are you going to do about it? I ran into this guy one time and he said, when someone's negative to him, he just says, how many people died? And they're like, nobody died. And he's like, okay, then it's no problem. If no one died, there's really no problem. We'll figure it out. Let's come up with a solution. So you just want to train yourself. And again, I understand, guys, this is hard. It took me years to rewire my brain so that I could be what Joel Dunn calls an eternal optimist. Someone who's always thinking, like, oh, the streets are icy, everyone's getting in a car wreck. It's like, no, this means we can get our ice skates on and go ice skating. There's always a positive, there's a positive side to almost everything. So you have to help people see that, and you have to lead people into that, because that's what people want to be around. Tell me the last time you thought about who's the most negative person I know. I think I want to go hang out at their house tonight. Right? Who do I know that sucks? I think I'm going to call them up right now, because I love how it feels when I talk to sucky people. Right? No, I mean, when your phone rings, you look at it and you make a quick judgment call. Is this a I'm not home person? Or is this oh, I'm so excited they're calling me, I got to take this call? And you got to think about how you are when you call other people. I mean, if every time you call someone, it goes to voicemail, and you call like 50 different people, you got to go, why is no one ever available when I call? That probably has more to do with you than it does to do with them. So it's a process, though. We live in a negative, fallen world, so we have to constantly fill ourselves with positivity. We have to fill ourselves with exciting things, things that we're passionate about. And that's another reason why you want to get to these events. You want to get to Green Carpet or watch it online, so it's already sold out. Bring people over to your home and, just fill yourself up, because the only way you can fill others up is if you fill yourself up first. And that's a big part of this business. When you get a great, big, giant team going, which I believe all of you can, you have to have stuff to give to your people. You've got to have passion to pour into your people, and excitement, because we're in the people building business. If you don't like people, you're in the wrong business. Some people say this business is awesome if it wasn't just for the people. Well, this business is awesome because of the people. You got to have good people. And so the better you become, the better people you'll have on your team. So hopefully that helps, Janny. But, the world, I mean, there's always going to be negative people joining our team. And so what can we do to impact their life? What can we do to add value to them while they're on our team? During the season they're on our team, how can we add something valuable to their life that when they leave, they're going to go, wow, that person made a difference? Because here's what I know. Most people have no one that's adding any value to their life, right? Almost even less people have anyone who believes in them. And there's some people have absolutely no one who unconditionally loves them. So when someone comes across your path and you're able to talk to them about it works, you're able to talk to them about making their lives better, you actually get to be a difference maker in that life. You get to say, now that I've come into your life, your future is going to begin. And that's an exciting place to be for someone. And when you start thinking that way and how you can add value to people, it's just wonderful. I don't know if all of you know Carrie and Tay Young, but Tay and Joel Dunn and myself, we do we have a personal development Facebook page. It's the It Works Personal Development Facebook page. And every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 7:30 Central, we go live. And we've been doing this for over a year. Right now we're going through some John Maxwell stuff, which is incredible. And if you guys will just start to fill your mind with all these things, they're going to make you more positive and you more optimistic and you more excited and build belief in yourself, then you'll see everything. Everything else just kind of works it out. This is 80% the mind and it's 20% the what you do. 80% the why and 20% the how. The how is easy. I mean, the how is you could go into it's like the story of the old Chinese guy, just moved to America, right? And he joined a network marketing company. He didn't know much English, so he just go tap people on the shoulder and say, you look for opportunity, yes, no. And if they said yes, he'd say, write down number. And he just went and got a whole bunch of numbers, and then he had his person that could speak a lot better English with him, and he'd call him up and say, hold on, I put friend on phone with you. And he did that, and he built a big, huge, massive business. See, it's not like got to learn all this and all that and be super awesome and how to use the flashy words and high-end closing and all this stuff. It's working through the numbers. It's just working, sorting through people. It's like if you have a deck of cards, there's 52 cards in a deck. There's always 4 aces. There's always 12 face cards, and there's always 2 jokers. You can't open up a deck and not have the jokers and not have the aces and not have the 12 face cards. You have to embrace all of it and understand that as you're going out, and you're prospecting, you're talking to people, those 4 aces represent distributors. So if you're talking to 50, 60 people in a month, you're going to sign 4 distributors. You're going to sign 10 or 12 loyal customers. And you're going to find 2 people that you're just like, why did I have to meet this person? They're so nasty and they're so mean and they're a joker. Well, it's because every deck comes with 2 jokers. So once you get that out of the way and you just know, hey, every month if I'm having people cuss me out, I'm going the right direction, right? And you just know that because you know you have to go through it all to find the good ones. You got to go through it all to find the customers. You got to go through it all to find the rubies and the emeralds and the diamonds and everything. So, yeah, I love when someone shows me an analogy. And then here's what's cool is you get to choose how long it takes you to go through a deck of cards. Some of you might be going through a deck a year right now, right? And some of you might have only signed 3 distributors, 4 distributors in the last year. That means you just went through 1 deck of cards. You've only went through about 50 people. But when you figure this out, you can go through a deck a month, do steps every month, right? And then you can start going through a deck every 2 weeks if you want to. You could go through multiple decks a week if that's what you want to do. That's the only way you're going to do steps like 8 or 10 times in a month is if you go through multiple decks of cards a week, multiple seed planting. You're just the farmer. Some farmers have a little tiny plot of land. You know, they might have like an acre. Some farmers have hundreds of acres. And you get to choose how many acres you want, how many seeds you want to plant, and it works. So what I can tell you is the more you put in, the more you get out. There's a story in the Bible. I think it's 2 Kings. You guys might remember this. Second Kings 2, I think. Don't quote me on it. It might be off. But anyway, there's a woman, and she lost her husband, and she's got 2 sons. And she owes a bunch of people money. And they're coming and they're knocking on the door and they're saying, we are going to take your kids away. And she's like, no, don't take my kids away. So she goes and she talks to Elisha. And Elisha says, what do you have worth of any value? And she says, I have a jar of some oil. That's all she had. She has a little bit of oil. And so he says, go and gather all the empty jars that you can. So she goes and she gathers all these jars, right? She has her boys go get some jars from the neighbors. I don't know how many they got, but they spend a few hours getting these jars. So she has all these jars. He says, start pouring the oil into the jars. And so she starts pouring oil into the jars, and the oil just keeps flowing, and it keeps flowing, and it keeps flowing, and it keeps flowing until guess when it stops? It stops after they run out of jars. And that's a really interesting story because, see, we get to plant the seeds and God grows the trees. We got to give God something to work with, right? In that situation, they had to go out and gather how many jars they felt like they should get. They could have got 5, they could have got 10. Some of you so crazy, you might have went out and just gathered jars all night long and not slept at all, and you would have ended up with more oil because you were thinking bigger, right? So it's the same thing with this. You can have a ruby business, you can have a diamond business, or you can have a multiple ambassador business. It's totally up to you. But you put in the work, and God's going to bless your effort, okay? So I'll leave you with this. Dave Ramsey's formula for unstoppable momentum, which is what you should all want in your business. You want to create unstoppable momentum. He says focused intensity over time multiplied by God equals unstoppable momentum. So focused intensity. That means you are getting it done. You got to have your 5, your 6, your 7 non-negotiables. And once you decide they're non-negotiable, that has to be it has to be like breathing air, like eating food, taking a shower. You're just like, hey, I am going to do these things. So focused intensity, like a heat-seeking missile, over time. It can't be, you can't do your business for 2 weeks every day and then take a week off. You just can't. That will lead you to frustration. If you think you're going to be successful there, that's delusion. So you have to put together focused intensity over time. And I found 90 days. 90 days can change your health. 90 days can change your bank account. 90 days can change your marriage. 90 days can change so many things in life. But it has to be the focus, and it has to be consistent, and you have to go all in. And then when you are all in and you're like, I'm either going to get this rank or you're going to find me dead on the side of the road. It's like time, fate, and circumstance get together, and they have a meeting and they say, she said she's going to do it or die, so we might as well let her have it. And then you get it done. It's just, you just have to plant your flag. I've heard so many stories, you hear people, they're in the business playing around for a few years, and then all of a sudden they go diamond, then double, then triple, and it's like, what changed? and they say, I finally planted my flag. I made a decision. You know, and the word decide is a powerful word because you have homicide that means death to someone else. And you have the word suicide that means death to self. But the word decide means death to all other options. So when you decide something, you're saying it's going to happen. It is going to happen. And then if the fear goes away, because when you go all in on something, your actions back that up. And you start making the phone calls you need to make, and you start plugging into the Zoom you need to be on, and you start doing what needs to happen every single day. And it just becomes routine, and all this stuff starts happening. Next thing you know, you're like, oh, wow, we made 10 grand. Oh, wow, we made 20 grand. Oh, wow, we made $55,000 in a month. And you're like, how did that happen? And it's just a fun place to be. So I wish that for all of you. I hope all your dreams come true. And if you guys can figure it out, you can figure it out. And I'll leave you with a quote from Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn said, from testimonials and personal experience, right? So from testimonials and personal experience, we have enough information to conclude that it's possible to design and live an extraordinary life. And all of you have met so many people in It Works that have designed and are living an extraordinary life. And if you haven't met them, you need to get to events and you'll meet them, and they'll give you hugs, take pictures with you. They'll share a tip. They'll do whatever you ask. They'll become your friends on Facebook, right? And all the above. So anyway, I appreciate you guys. Man, kudos to all of you for staying on here this late on a Friday. And I hope you all have a great day. And unless you have more questions, Janny,
Chad, what's the page? What's your page again? It Works Personal Development. It's just called It Works. What's it called?
Yeah, it Works Personal Development.
Okay.
It's a Facebook.
Cool. I think I'm in that page. Okay. Thank you
like 5,000
so much.
people. I think there's like 5,000 people in it so far. There's a lot of awesome ambassadors in there, but Joel, Tay, and myself are on there every single Tuesday and Thursday morning.
Awesome. And it's a public page, so you guys can go look for that.
Yep.
Thank you so much. I've been looking. I don't think we have a ton of questions, but there is a ton of people in the chat that it's just, that chat is life right now. It's drop something in the comments, you guys, if this meant a lot to you. I know I got so much more out of this than anything I could have been watching on Netflix right now. This was recorded. I can't follow any of that up. The only thing I want to reiterate is that every single person on this Zoom, every single one, without being prompted, said that self-development and your mindset was, if not the most important thing in this business. You just heard Chad say it's 80%. So if you haven't taken that advice yet, if you've heard it and you've rolled your eyes, if you've thought that like, oh, that doesn't help me get a customer right now, if you feel like it's a waste of time, like, don't. Just start now. It's not too late. Start now. Do something for your mind and your personal development, because you will go nowhere without it. So thank you to everybody who was on. I'm going to end the recording. And thank you so much.